Experience. Some of you have walked through seasons that didn't make sense. You prayed, you cried, you waited, and still the heavens seemed silent. But hear me when I say this. Experience, when God hides you, it's not rejection, it's preparation. You didn't just survive the test, you were being shaped by it. And now, experience. The same God who watched you in your valley is about to elevate you to divine abundance. Some of you have wondered why life has been so hard. Experience. Why the very things you prayed against keep coming back, and why your faith feels stretched beyond measure. I want you to understand something today. Experience. The test you endured was never meant to destroy you. It was never designed to break your spirit or crush your hope. No, my friend, it was crafted by God Himself to build you. Experience, to strengthen you and to prepare you for what He has called you to receive. Every trial, every setback, every delay has a purpose. Experience. And that purpose is to make you more than you were yesterday, to equip you for the greater destiny that is waiting on the other side of your endurance. Think about gold in a fire. Experience. Gold does not shine in the daylight without first being purified by flames. The process is uncomfortable, even painful, but it is necessary. God is doing the same with you. Experience. He allows the fires of life to refine your character, to expose hidden weaknesses, and to strengthen hidden strengths. When you feel pressed from every side, experience. When it seems like the world is against you, remember you are not being punished. You are being polished. You are being made ready for the fullness of blessing. Experience, for the increase that He has already set aside for His chosen. The enemy wants you to think that the test is a sign of rejection, but it is not. Experience. The enemy wants you to believe that your pain is evidence that God has forgotten you, but the truth is the opposite. God sees you. Experience. He knows the struggles that have left you exhausted. He knows the nights you spent questioning your purpose, the prayers you whispered in the silence. Experience. And the tears you shed when no one was watching. And He is pleased with your faithfulness, because every time you stood firm, every time you chose obedience over complaint, experience, every time you refused to give in to discouragement, you were proving that your spirit is stronger than the storm. You have to understand something vital. Experience. Endurance is evidence of God's hand on your life. The very things that tried to break you were actually designed to show the world that you cannot be broken. Experience. Every hardship was a test, not of your ability alone, but of your willingness to trust God even when circumstances screamed otherwise. Experience. There is a difference between suffering and being tested. Suffering can weaken a person who has no foundation, but a test strengthens a person who has faith. And you, chosen one, experience, have passed that test. You have endured, and endurance produces maturity, wisdom, and spiritual authority. Consider Joseph in the Bible. He was betrayed by his brothers. Experience. Sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. If he had seen the trials as punishment, he might have given up. Experience. But Joseph understood that God was orchestrating something far greater than his present circumstances. Every setback, every moment of injustice was building him for the throne. Experience. And the same principle applies to your life. What seems like delay is actually design. What seems like failure is actually preparation. What seems like suffering is actually strengthening. God never wastes a season, and He never allows a test without a purpose. This is why your faith cannot be casual. Experience. You must learn to see the hand of God in every difficulty, to recognize that even the storms are under His control. When the winds blow and the waves rise, instead of asking, experience, why, me ask, what is God building in me? The test is not the end of the story. It is the training ground for the next chapter. Experience. It is the classroom where God teaches endurance, patience, faith, and trust. It is the workshop where your character is being sharpened, your vision is being clarified. Experience, and your heart is being aligned with God's will. You need to know today that your endurance is not accidental. You are not surviving by luck or chance. Every step you took, experience. Every prayer you uttered, every act of faith you displayed was part of God's plan to prepare you for divine abundance. Experience. The test was never meant to break you. It was meant to build you, to mold you, and to position you to receive the blessings that have been waiting for you all along. Experience. So when the test comes again, don't shrink back in fear. Stand firm, knowing that God is using it to make you more than you were yesterday, stronger than you were before. Experience, and ready for the glory that is coming. There are seasons in life when it feels like you are walking in the dark. You pray, you seek guidance, and yet the answers seem delayed. Experience. You cannot see the path ahead clearly, and the weight of uncertainty presses on your spirit. In these moments, it's easy to grow frustrated, to complain, experience, or even to step out in your own strength. But hear me today, obedience in the dark is what unlocks blessing in the light. When you choose to do what is right, Experience. Even when you cannot see the outcome, you are aligning yourself with God's divine purpose. You are planting seeds that, though invisible now, experience will grow into a harvest of blessing, favor, and divine abundance. Many people fail to understand that God's timing is perfect, even when it seems delayed. Experience. The obedience he calls for is not dependent on immediate reward or visible results. God measures faithfulness by the willingness to act according to his word. Experience, not by the immediate payoff. You may be asked to forgive someone who has hurt you deeply, to persist in a project that seems fruitless. Experience, or to wait patiently for doors to open that appear locked. Obedience in these moments is a testimony of your trust in God. Experience, a demonstration that you believe his promises, even when you cannot yet see them. Consider Abraham, who was called to leave his homeland without knowing the destination. Experience. Abraham obeyed in the dark, and because of his faithfulness, God brought him into a covenant blessing that would affect generations. Like Abraham, experience. You may not have all the answers right now. You may not understand why circumstances are challenging or why the path seems uncertain. But the choice to remain faithful, experience, to act in obedience is what positions you for the breakthrough that God has already prepared. The moment you act in faith, even without clarity, experience, you step into God's plan and allow his power to move on your behalf. Obedience in the dark is not easy. It requires discipline, courage, and a heart fully surrendered to God. You have to believe that what you cannot see is just as real as what is visible. You must trust that God's promises are true, even when circumstances suggest otherwise. Experience. This is the kind of faith that produces results. It is not a faith that waits for convenience or clarity. It is a faith that acts in alignment with God's truth. Experience. Even when the way is uncertain, every step of obedience, no matter how small, builds momentum for the blessings that are to come. Experience. It's important to understand that the light comes only after obedience. God does not reward disobedience or partial commitment. Experience. The harvest is contingent upon planting seeds according to his instructions. If you sow only when conditions are perfect, experience, you will never see the full measure of what he has promised. But if you sow faithfully, even in the dark, experience, your obedience becomes the conduit through which God releases his abundance. Every trial you endure, every season of waiting you endure, experience, and every act of faith you perform quietly is part of a divine process designed to position you for blessing. There is power in obedience that many people overlook. Experience. Obedience in the dark strengthens your character, teaches patience, and deepens intimacy with God. Experience. It is in these moments that your faith becomes unshakable because you have learned to trust not what you see, but what God says. When you obey in the dark, experience, you are declaring that your faith is anchored in God's word, not in circumstances. You are saying, I will follow you, even when I cannot see the path. Experience, because I know you are faithful and God honors that faith. Today, I want you to hear this clearly. The blessing will come, but it comes through obedience. The light is waiting. Experience, but you must act faithfully while in the darkness. Don't allow fear, doubt, or impatience to lead you astray. Keep doing what you know is right. Keep honoring God with your life. Experience your choices in your heart. Every act of obedience, every faithful step is a seed planted in the soil of divine favor. One day, experience, you will step into the light and see the full harvest of what you have sown. The doors that seem closed will open. The opportunities that seem distant will arrive. Experience, and the blessings that seem delayed will be yours, all because you obeyed when no one was watching. Experience, and even when you could not see the outcome. Many of you have felt invisible. You've labored, you've prayed, and yet it seems as though nobody notices your efforts. Experience, you look around and see others being promoted, recognized, or celebrated, while your life feels like it's stuck in a waiting pattern. I want you to hear me clearly today. Experience, hidden seasons are not wasted seasons. They are sacred seasons. God has a purpose for the times when you feel overlooked, ignored, or forgotten. What the world calls delay, experience, God calls preparation. What you see as isolation, heaven sees as incubation. When God places you in a hidden season, he is doing something extraordinary. Experience. He is working behind the scenes to equip you, refine you, and prepare you for the next level of your destiny. Experience. The things you cannot see are being arranged in a way that will bring maximum impact. People may think nothing is happening, but heaven is orchestrating a symphony of favor. Experience. Blessing and alignment that will arrive at exactly the right time. Just because it's hidden doesn't mean it's unimportant. It's sacred. Experience. You have to understand that God's ways are not like human ways. Humans look at visibility and assume significance. God looks at obedience and faithfulness. Experience. Your worth is not determined by recognition or applause from men. It is determined by your alignment with God's will and your willingness to trust him in unseen moments. Hidden seasons teach you humility. They teach you reliance on God rather than on the approval of others. They teach patience, endurance, experience, and faith that is anchored not in circumstances, but in divine truth. Think about Moses. For 40 years, he lived in the wilderness, tending sheep, unseen, experience, preparing for the moment God would call him to deliver Israel. That time was not wasted. It was sacred. Moses was being equipped, molded, and prepared for leadership. Experience. The hidden season allowed God to shape his character, deepen his faith, and strengthen his resolve. You may not feel like a leader today, experience, but God is using your hidden season to prepare you for a moment when your influence, your wisdom, and your strength will be needed for greater impact. Experience. Hidden seasons are also about protection. Sometimes God hides you because the blessing is not ready, the timing is not right, or the environment is not yet safe. Experience. God sees what you cannot see. He knows the storms that lie ahead and the people who might hinder your progress. By keeping you in a hidden season, he preserves you, shields you, experience, and ensures that when the moment of breakthrough comes, you are fully prepared to receive it. You are not behind schedule. You are on God's schedule. Experience. And his schedule is perfect. During hidden seasons, your faith is tested in ways that are not visible to the world. It is easy to trust God when everyone is watching. Experience. When doors are opening and when life seems smooth. The real measure of your faith is how you respond when no one sees, when the world seems silent. Experience. And when you are walking in obscurity. Hidden seasons are sacred because they develop a faith that cannot be shaken, a character that cannot be corrupted. And a trust in God that cannot be moved. I want to remind you today, what you are going through is not meaningless. It is intentional. Experience. God has placed you in this hidden season for a reason. He is aligning people, preparing opportunities, experience, and strengthening your spirit in ways that will bear fruit beyond your imagination. When the curtain finally rises, when your moment of elevation comes, experience. The world will see the result, but only heaven fully understands the preparation that took place behind the scenes. So do not despise your hidden season. Do not give up. Experience, become discouraged, or try to force things to happen before God's timing. Instead, embrace it. Use it to pray, to grow, to study, to prepare, experience, and to strengthen your relationship with God. Hidden seasons are sacred because they are designed to produce in you what no visible season could ever accomplish. Experience. When you finally emerge, you will step into your blessing with maturity, wisdom, and readiness, fully equipped to handle what God has ordained. Remember this. Experience. The hidden season is not a pause. It is a preparation. It is not a setback. It is a setup. It is not an absence. Sacred. Stand firm. Stay faithful. Experience. And trust that what God is doing in the shadows is greater than anything the world could ever see. Endurance is not just the ability to survive. It is proof of purpose. Experience, evidence of calling, and confirmation of election. The very fact that you have endured trials, setbacks, and opposition is a sign that God has chosen you for something greater. Experience. Not everyone is called to persevere under pressure. Many falter when the storms come. Many give up when the path seems too long. Many shrink back when the enemy presses hard. Experience. But you, the chosen one, have stood firm. You have refused to quit, even when it would have been easier to give in. That endurance is not accidental. Experience. It is evidence that you were picked, appointed, and equipped for a divine assignment. Think about the difference between those who give up and those who keep going. Experience. The ones who give up may have talent, potential, or good intentions, but they lack perseverance. The ones who endure, who press forward in faith, experience, demonstrate that there is something in them greater than the trial itself. God's elect are not determined by human standards. They are determined by His will, His purpose. Experience and His ability to sustain them. Every test you have faced, every difficulty you have encountered has been an opportunity for God to display His power through your steadfastness. Experience. Your endurance is a reflection of His grace. Consider the story of Job. Job endured losses, suffering, and betrayal that would have broken almost anyone. Yet, through it all, experience, he remained faithful. His endurance was not meaningless. It was evidence of God's hand on his life. It demonstrated His calling, His character, and His destiny. Experience. Job's trials were not the end of his story. They were the proof that he was chosen for greater blessings, for a testimony that would inspire generations. Like Job, your endurance signals that you are not ordinary. You are marked by God. You are appointed for a purpose that is bigger than your current situation. Experience. Endurance also reveals character. It shows that your faith is not shallow, that your trust in God is not temporary, and that your commitment to His promises is unwavering. Experience. Those who endure are strengthened in ways that others cannot understand. They develop patience, wisdom, and resilience that cannot be manufactured overnight. Experience. Endurance shapes leaders, equips visionaries, and prepares the chosen to handle responsibilities that would crush the unprepared. God uses the fires of life not to punish you, experience, but to refine you so that when your time comes, you can handle the blessing without stumbling under its weight. You must also understand that endurance is contagious. Experience. When people see you press forward despite opposition, when they see you rise after every fall, when they witness your unwavering faith, they are inspired. Experience. Your endurance validates God's promises. It tells the world that God is faithful, that his people are resilient, and that his plans cannot be thwarted by circumstances. Experience. The evidence of your election is not only for you. It is for those who need to see that God equips, strengthens, and honors his chosen. Endurance is not always easy to maintain. Experience. There are moments when your strength feels spent, when hope seems distant, and when doubt whispers in your ear. But these are the very moments that define you as chosen. Experience. The world may not see your battle, but God sees your heart. He sees your refusal to quit, your commitment to remain faithful, and your trust in his promises. Experience. That perseverance is like a seal on your life, marking you as someone set apart, someone appointed, someone destined for divine favor and breakthrough. Remember, experience. The test does not last forever, but the evidence it produces in your life does. When you endure, you demonstrate that your faith is real, your calling is genuine. Experience. And your destiny is secure. You prove that you are not ordinary, that you were chosen, and that you will not be discarded. Every time you rise after falling, experience. Every time you speak faith, when the enemy whispers defeat, you are showing the world and heaven alike that endurance is evidence of election. So today, hold your head high. Experience. Celebrate your perseverance. Recognize that the very trials you wanted to escape are the proof that God has set you apart. Endurance is not a burden. It is a badge of honor. Experience. It confirms that you were chosen, that you were appointed, and that nothing can derail the divine plan God has for your life. Stand firm, remain faithful. Experience. And let your endurance speak volumes about your election and your destiny. Many of you have wondered why it seems like God is late. You've prayed, you've hoped. Experience. You've worked hard, and yet it feels like nothing is happening. The blessing seems delayed, the breakthrough seems distant, and the doors you expected to open remain closed. Experience. But I want you to hear this clearly today. Divine timing is never delayed. It is designed. What appears as delay to you is actually God's perfect orchestration. Experience. Aligning every element of your life for maximum impact. There's no missed opportunity, no oversight, and no accident in God's timing. Every delay is deliberate. Every pause is purposeful. Think about the seasons of your life as God's calendar, not yours. Humans measure time by hours, days, and years. Experience. God measures time by purpose and preparation. When he allows waiting, it is not because he is unaware of your needs. Experience, but because he is arranging everything necessary for your full victory. He knows the right people to bring across your path, the right opportunities to open. Experience, and the right circumstances to align. What looks like a delay is actually divine design in motion. You are not behind schedule. You are on God's schedule. Experience, and his schedule is perfect. Consider the story of Joseph. He spent years in the pit, in slavery, and in prison before the dream God had given him came to pass. To Joseph, experience, it must have seemed like a lifetime of delay, a season of endless waiting and suffering. But every step of that journey was designed. Every hardship refined his character. Experience. Every injustice strengthened his faith, and every challenge positioned him for the throne that awaited him. When his moment finally came, it was perfect. The right time, experience, the right place, and the right conditions. That is the way God works for you too. Divine timing is precise because God sees the bigger picture. He knows the end from the beginning. Experience. He knows what is coming before it even happens. And he arranges events in your life with perfect accuracy so that when your breakthrough arrives, it will be exactly what you need. Experience. Nothing less and nothing more. This is why you cannot rush the process, force the doors open prematurely, or try to manipulate God's plan. When you try to take shortcuts, experience, you risk missing the full measure of what God has prepared. His timing is not delayed. It is designed to maximize your blessing. Patience in the waiting is essential. Experience. You must learn to trust the invisible work of God even when you cannot see it. You must learn to praise him in the season of delay, knowing that every moment is purposeful. Every prayer you have uttered, every step of faith you have taken, and every trial you have endured is contributing to a divine plan that you cannot yet fully understand. The waiting is not a setback, it is a setup. The delay is not denial, it is preparation. Divine timing also requires discernment. Experience. You must recognize that what is meant for you will arrive, but only at the appointed time. You cannot force it, you cannot manipulate it, and you cannot speed it up. Experience. God's design is meticulous. He knows the perfect moment to release favor, to open doors, and to reveal blessings. When the time comes, everything aligns effortlessly. Experience. And the impact is greater than anything you could have achieved on your own. That is why it is crucial to remain faithful, patient, and steadfast in the meantime. Remember, experience. The delays you face are not signs of rejection. They are signs of preparation. God is working behind the scenes, setting things in order, positioning people, experience, and arranging opportunities so that your breakthrough is both timely and transformative. What seems late is actually perfect. What seems slow is actually strategic. Experience. What seems invisible is actually intricate divine design. So today, trust the process, trust the timing, do not grow weary or discouraged. Keep believing, keep praying. Experience and keep walking faithfully in obedience. The moment of breakthrough is coming, and it will arrive at exactly the right time, perfectly designed by the God who never misses. Experience never falters and never delays without purpose. Divine timing is not delayed. Experience. It is perfectly designed to bring the fullness of blessing into your life at the appointed moment. Many of you have been waiting for breakthrough, praying for favor, experience, and hoping for the doors of opportunity to swing open. And I want to tell you today, abundance is coming. Experience. But here's something vital to understand. God's abundance is never meant for self-indulgence alone. The blessings that are coming to you are not only for your benefit, experience, but also for the benefit of others. The overflow of God's favor in your life is designed to impact your family, your community, and even generations to come. Experience. You have endured the test. You have proven faithful. And now the season of increase is upon you. Experience. But the increase has a purpose beyond your comfort. It is meant to flow through you, touching lives and advancing God's kingdom on the earth. Experience. Many people think that blessing is only about personal gain. They imagine that abundance is measured by wealth, possessions, or recognition. Experience. But God's abundance is far greater than material provision. It is spiritual, emotional, and relational overflow. It is wisdom, favor, insight, and influence. Experience. It is the ability to inspire, encourage, and lead others. When God blesses the chosen, the blessing is not just a reward. It is a tool, a resource, experience, and a conduit for greater impact. You are being entrusted with more than you had before, not just to elevate yourself, but to elevate others, to create opportunities, to extend God's love in practical ways. The abundance coming to you will also validate the faithfulness of your endurance. Every moment you pressed forward. Experience, every act of trust, every choice to stay obedient has contributed to this moment of overflow. God is faithful to reward those who remain steadfast, and when your abundance arrives, it will not only meet your needs, it will demonstrate God's power, provision, and timing. Others will see the evidence of His hand on your life. Experience, and their faith will be strengthened by your testimony. The blessings you receive will ripple outward, touching lives you may not even know. Experience, fulfilling purposes you may not yet understand. Consider the example of Joseph. The abundance he received in Egypt was not only for his personal survival, it was to save nations from famine. His rise to prominence carried a responsibility to provide for others. Similarly, the favor, opportunities, and blessings that are coming into your life are designed to create a wider impact. The people you help, the testimonies you share, experience, and the resources you steward will bring life to others. God's abundance is never solitary. It is always relational and kingdom-minded. You also need to understand that abundance is tied to faithfulness. It is not given to those who are complacent or selfish. It comes to those who have endured experience, to those who have remained faithful in the unseen, to those who have been obedient in the dark. The increase is a direct result of your trust, perseverance, experience, and alignment with God's purpose. This is why it is essential to continue sowing, giving, and serving even before the abundance arrives. Experience. Your hands must be ready to steward the overflow wisely because God entrusts blessings to those who honor them responsibly. Abundance is not only material or financial. Experience. It is spiritual depth, clarity of purpose, and influence that changes lives. It is wisdom in decision-making, peace in trials, and courage in adversity. Experience. It is the ability to create positive change wherever you are planted. When God pours out His abundance through you, it is transformative, not just for you. Experience, but for everyone who comes into contact with your life. You are a vessel, and God's abundance will flow through you to bless, heal, restore, and inspire. So, experience. Prepare yourself to receive and to give. Prepare your heart, your hands, and your life to be channels of God's overflowing favor. Experience. The test you endured has positioned you for this moment. The waiting you endured has prepared you for this season. Now, as abundance comes, it will not be just a personal blessing. Experience. It will be a testimony, a ministry, and a mission. You will see the evidence of God's faithfulness in your life, and you will become a beacon of hope for others. Today, experience. Embrace the truth that abundance is coming, not just for you, but through you. Stand ready to receive it, steward it, and release it into the lives of others. Experience. Your endurance has earned it. Your faithfulness has positioned you for it. And God, who is faithful, experience is about to open the floodgates of blessing that will not only elevate your life, but also transform the world around you. The season of overflow is here. Experience, it is bigger than you ever imagined.